Cloudcast Media.
Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.
I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media. So pleased to have in the studio with us today our friends from the San Diego Symphony. We got Theodora Bellinger, Director of Artistic Operations for the Symphony, joined by her colleague, Jonathan Gilmer. He is a creative producer for Ravel's The Child and the Magic Spells. And we have a soprano performing in the cast of Ravel's The Child and the Magic Spells. That's Tasha Hokuao Koontz. So Theodora, Jonathan, and Tasha, how you folks doing?
Doing very well.
Great. Thanks for having us.
It's great to be here.
Absolutely. Theodora, let's talk about you. You're Director of the Artistic Operations for the Symphony. You've been doing a lot of this great stuff throughout the community. I love the fact that your career spans performing arts and higher education. We cannot talk enough about that. Talk a little bit about your background.
Well, originally I grew up in Australia, so there's a little bit of an accent going on still, although I've been in San Diego now since 2008. I trained as a singer. I went to music school. I thought I was going to be a music teacher when I left school. And eventually I found this other side of the music industry that was behind the scenes. It was the managers, the producers, and all of that exciting thing that I didn't really know existed. So I found my way there. I worked as an artist manager in Sydney. Eventually, I got married and moved away, and those stories are interesting because I married a sailor, so I went all over the world, really. And eventually, we landed in San Diego, as many Navy families do, and I found myself at San Diego State in the School of Music and Dance, where I met many exciting young musicians to come and worked with the faculty there. And then from there, I found myself at the San Diego Symphony, where I've been since 2019. My role at the San Diego Symphony is in the artistic department. We're responsible for all of the main stage productions that we put on with the orchestra and without the orchestra. So you'll see our work at the Rady Shell at Jacobs Park and at Jacobs Music Center.
Right, was just at Rady Shell listening to Chicago the other night. Very, very good. I'm sure you were there as well. So we just had on earlier today our Dr. Karen Kohner from the SDSU School of Music and Dance. It's amazing. There's so much synergy with all the guests that are there. So Jonathan, talk about, you're the creative producer for Ravel's The Child and the Magic Spells. What got you into performance and creating and directing and everything in between?
I have to say I grew up as a classic theater kid. I got roped into the business when I was 3 years old. My brothers were supernumeraries in Chicago in an opera, and we went to pick them up at 10 o'clock after rehearsal, and they said, we need another little boy. Do you want to do it? And that's what happened.
How old were you?
3 when I first started. And then like Theodora, spent a lot of time on stage, but really just fell in love with what was happening behind the scenes and watching these worlds come together, and went into technical theater and now into producing. So the difference,
almost Theodora was talking a little bit about it, singing, and now you're on the administrative side. Here you are, 3 years old, thrust, you're going to be doing X, Y, and Z, and now being a producer, 180 or not so much?
Oh, I think being a producer is all about finding, all these people who are trying to achieve the best levels of art and see where they overlap and how you can best support them. What's amazing about this production is it's so much more than just a concert that you might see. We are dealing with an incredible cast of singers. We have the San Diego Symphony Chorus. We have the San Diego Children's Choir. We have an enormous representation of our city, but we have production elements. We have lighting. We have costumes. We have projections. So really figuring out how all of those things live in the same world to help tell this story.
Right, exactly. And when is the performance?
It is the first weekend of October, 3 and 5, Friday night and Sunday afternoon.
Right, I know it's the is it the opening concert of the Masterworks?
It's the opening program of our classical season.
Right.
back at Jacobs Music Center. So it's our second season back at the new Jacobs Music Center. So if you haven't been, if you weren't able to come last season, you've got to come and see this magnificent renovation that's happened right here in our city. It's amazing.
Well, see and hear. I mean, we were just talking about the incredible acoustic of this reimagined space, but I think a lot of us had the great fortune to be in rooms as the dream of this space was coming to be, which is what can you do there? And this is just such a great program that showcases the way that muscles are stretching to really expand the experience for the audience.
Well, it seems like anything the San Diego Symphony touches is going to be at the highest level of quality. And the first thing that comes to my mind is sound, to say the least on it. And there's a lot of things that go in between that and so forth. Tasha, how long have you been a singer?
My whole life. I started off singing in a children's chorus when I was 5 years old. And before that, I started piano lessons at 2, so I could basically read music before I could read words.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes.
You still play piano?
I do still play the piano.
Right,
yeah.
Exactly. What do you obviously enjoy singing and so forth? Do you enjoy that more than playing the piano, or it's hard to differentiate the piano?
Singing is definitely where it's at for me. It's my primary instrument, the one I've studied the most, the one I love the most, certainly the one I also teach the most in my multifaceted life that I live. But yeah, singing is the big thing for me.
And so where'd you go to school to learn about singing and music and everything and piano and all that?
So I was actually homeschooled when I was a child up until high school, which afforded me a lot of time to practice. And then once I graduated from high school, I went to Northwestern University in Chicago, and then I got my master's degree from Indiana University in Indiana.
Now, was your major in the music? Yeah.
Yes, it was. So I started as a dual degree student.
Journalism was one of them?
No, it was psychology. It was the other.
Okay.
But then about my sophomore year, I was like, this is silly. I really just want to sing. So I dropped my other degree, finished my Bachelor of Music in Voice and Opera Performance, and then got my master's degree in Voice and Opera Performance.
No, that's fantastic. We're chatting with our friends from the San Diego Symphony, Theodora Bellinger, Director of Artistic Operations, joined by her colleagues, Jonathan Gilmer, creative producer for Ravel's The Child and Magic Spells, and Tasha Hokuao Koontz. She is the soprano performing in the cast of Ravel's The Child and the Magic Spells. So Theodora, as Jonathan was talking about as well, a lot of moving parts on this, correct?
There's a lot of moving parts.
Talk about that.
Well, firstly, the San Diego Symphony does all sorts of programming, as everyone knows. We don't necessarily mount our own operas in concert. So this is something that the entire organization is working on. From my perspective, I've got a cast of 8 guest artists, wonderful singers. We're extremely lucky to have Isabel Leonard leading this performance. She's a superstar, and she is known for this role in particular, L'Enfant, the child. So that is one piece. But the other thing that perhaps some folks may not recognize is that this particular piece, Ravel's L'Enfant et le Sortilège, The Child and the Magic Spells, it's something like what we could describe as a concerto for orchestra. It features the orchestra and the whole orchestra, and there are moments where some of the instrumentalists of the members of the orchestra have solos where they will stand out, and you'll hear the virtuosity from within the orchestra. So it's very exciting, not only from this cast of amazing singers that we've managed to assemble, but you'll hear the San Diego Symphony and the tremendous musicianship that the members of that orchestra have.
Right. Who's the conductor on it?
It is our very own Rafael Payare.
Of course. And so how was it? I'll start with you on this, Jonathan, and you can add to it as well, Tasha, and certainly Theodora. How was it working with the conductor?
Fantastic. I mean, I think this room, as Theodora was mentioning, will have over 100 artists on stage during the performance. But to be inspired by the vision of Raphael and, of course, our fantastic director, Jared McBurdy, who can just come into any room and light it up with their vast, deep knowledge of music, but passionate about how you tell stories and passionate about how you raise the artistic level. We're the luckiest people in the world to be in those spaces.
What makes this challenging, or maybe not challenging, this deal with Ravel and this particular piece?
Well, there are 100 people on stage, and we have about 72 hours to pull it all together. So we have this piece that, like I said, has video and, of course, the fantastic music and all of the lighting. And we have a very, very short amount of time to pull it all together and to make sure that it's at the level that San Diegans and our audience expect. And so it's a challenge, but we're up to it and we're excited.
It's also quite a complex piece musically. I mean, this is not your average sort of opera that has only very melodic, beautiful lines in it. It's rhythmically complex. It's textually complex as well. So I think putting it all together is quite a feat.
From a soprano singer, is it difficult, not difficult? No, this was fine.
I'd say it's somewhere in the middle. I mean, it has its challenges. This piece is quite fun for me in that I get to play 4 different characters in the show. There are not a lot of pieces where I get to play a literal piece of furniture, a shepherdess, a bat, and a screech owl, who all have quite different characters and types of music to sing. So I'm quite thrilled to be able to do it.
You know what I always ask, and we have performing artists on here, and we're fortunate enough we have a lot of people that come in from Scripps Ranch Theater and, Oceanside Theater and everything in between theater. And I was amazed when there was someone that was on recently I think it was at Scripps Ranch Theater, that played the 35 different roles, literally 35 different roles. It might have been 40, for God's sake. Here you are doing 4, right? Some inanimate objects and real live things. How's it hard for you to make a switch on this, or it's not that hard?
The music really tells you a lot of what you need to know about each character. Each one is very, very musically distinct. Just even from the tessitura, from like where the notes lie in the voice. Some of them are quite low, some of them are quite high. They all have quite different articulation. So a lot of it comes from that. And then, of course, I've had a variety of different styles of acting training and musical training that help to support that endeavor.
All right, when we come back from break, we're going to continue the conversation with our friends from the San Diego Symphony, Theodora Bellinger, the Director of Artistic Operations, joined by Jonathan Gilmer, creative producer for Ravel's The Child and the Magic Spells, and also Tasha Hokuao Koontz. She is the soprano performing in this wonderful cast. We're going to talk more about how you get tickets to this, how you support this. We'll save some time in the second half of the interview, Theodora, so you can tell us what our listeners need to do to support the symphony. Obviously, go to the performances. We know that, but if there's anything else they can do as well. And just how important it is to focus on the arts in our region. I can talk about that for about 17,000 days on this aspect of it when we return right after this short break.
When you do your banking with Mission Fed, you get great rates on auto and home loans. That's good for you, but something good also happens for a lot of other people. We're not for profit, so we put money back into the community to help lots of great nonprofits to keep San Diego strong. So you're not just getting something good, you're doing something good. Come to Mission Fed. It's banking that's good for all.
Brand amplification is the DNA of Cloudcast Media, and our code is the powerful blending of sound, voice, and storytelling to lift local brands and their communities. Whether it is our Brandcast, Schoolcast, or Causecast platforms, the unifying ethos is all about this community, the one you call home. If you dare to dream and want to explore the brand amplification of Cloudcast, a national leader in local podcasting and other Winfluence strategies, please visit us at cloudcast.us.
I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media. You're listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show. We are the nation's longest running community podcast. We're in our 19th year, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union. 6 decades of just doing spectacular things in San Diego County, whether it's food insecurity, whether it's the arts, financial literacy, Alzheimer's, and everything else. Honored to have in the studio with us our friends from the San Diego Symphony, Theodora Bellinger, Director of Artistic Operations for the Symphony, Symphony, joined by Jonathan Gilmer, creative producer for Ravel's The Child and the Magic Spells, and Tasha Hokuao Koontz. She's a soprano performing in this wonderful performance. So Theodora, obviously this is a big deal. And what would you say to our audience? Why do they need to be at this?
This is not your typical symphony concert. You will, of course, hear the wonderful San Diego Symphony, but you are going to walk into an immersive experience. You are going to see beautiful projections, wonderful lighting. It's a theatrical experience that you will walk into. It's a program, honestly, that can really relate to people of all ages. It tells a human story throughout the program. The first half of the program is a Debussy. There's two Debussy pieces. There's The Joyful Isle, which is it's a fantasy. It's an escape from reality to a place of joy, and it's a lovely, lovely, lovely orchestration. The second piece on the program, Debussy's The Toy Box, La Boîte à Joujou, is just pure joy. It's fun. It tells the story of a toy shop that closes for the night, and then the toys come alive, and there's the whole story. And then they live their whole life during that one night. The dawn comes, and we start again the next day. It's going to be gorgeous. And then we have this amazing Ravel, the child and the magical spells. This program is something that is everyone has experienced that moment in life when they don't want to do their homework, right? Let's just start there. Everyone can relate to that story. And that's what triggers the whole avalanche of activity with this program. It's going to be fun. It's going to be something that you can bring your children to. You can bring your children to this. They will enjoy it, and they will understand it, and they will think it's the most imaginative theatrical experience they've ever experienced.
Well, and I love the way you bring that up. And, and Jonathan, I know that's something that's important to you, being the creative producer of this with 4,000 different parts in it. There's nothing like live performances. And of course, we all suffered during the COVID, of course, when we couldn't do that as much. And then they're coming back in some cases with the symphony and ferocity in a very positive way in this. But just talking about that experience, I love how Theodora set that up, Jonathan, of who cannot relate to not wanting to do homework. I'm sure you were in that boat. For God's sake, I'm still in that boat, even though I'm not a student right now. So.
And now I get to do that for a living. No, it really is exciting. And I think, to Theodora's point, this is just an immensely exciting moment for the arts in San Diego. The symphony has the Ready Shell at Jacobs Park, and now the renovated Jacobs Music Center. But beyond spaces, these are spaces that attract artists of the highest level coming to do great work. There will be no other space where you can see this internationally renowned cast come together with this collective brain space to put this on. So I really do think it's a one-off that is not to be missed. So for those folks that are going to be in there hearing this, great performance, wonderful soprano by Tasha over here, the orchestra in this newly renovated music center. Jonathan, how would you describe what the sounds are going to be to the human ear? Oh, they're all over the place. I think Tasha can speak to this better, but Theodora was talking about the sounds of the orchestra and blended with the singers, and it is a wild ride. I mean, I think there's an amazing moment in the middle where you hear the sound of cats in the night.
Yes.
That really are sounds of cats that are coming from the orchestra. That it's just there's so much surprise in the piece. Mm-hmm. We're working with a phenomenal artist, Joe Fournier from Chicago, who's an illustrator who has created images that are not only beautiful, but they spark the imagination of what are these animals, what is happening. It's really this fever dream of a piece that you will see things and you'll experience, but it'll send your imagination flying.
Right. So, Tasha, Jonathan sort of teed you up on that. How are the sounds going to be in this?
You'll hear a very wide variety of sounds, human sounds, animal sounds. I think one of my favorite parts of this piece so far, at least that I sing, right, is this little interjection where you get to hear Ravel's interpretation of what an owl sounds like, and I find it quite hysterical. Just this very simple chromatic scale up and down about as fast as humanly possible. So I think you'll get to hear, I think it would be quite fun for audience members to be able to sit there and sort of identify different kinds of sounds, let their inner children come out to play.
Right. Now, you're not singing the owl part, correct? You're not.
I am.
Okay, so you got owl, you got furniture. What else?
A bat.
A bat, okay.
And a shepherdess.
Thank you, shepherdess.
Yes.
Thank you very much. So you're doing the owl on that. Was it tough to get that down with the owl?
No, that's actually the easiest part for me.
What was it? What was the toughest?
The toughest is actually the bat. The bat goes back and forth between all of this very, very fast text and then some actually sort of unvoiced sounds. There's this little like tick, tick that has to happen in there that people interpret in a variety of different ways. So we'll see what gets settled upon in rehearsal.
Now, if you tell me you have to sing that upside down, that would be, then we've got to talk to Jonathan Gilmer about,
That's a whole other effect.
It is. I have friends that actually do that.
Is that right?
Oh, yeah. Opera singers on silks. It's become quite a fun fad. But no, I think for me, I think I could just keep my feet on the ground.
That sounds good. We're chatting with our friends with the San Diego Symphony about the Ravels, the Child, and the Magic Spells. I'm Drew Schlosberg at Cloudcast Media, listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show. We are the nation's longest running community podcast. We're in our 19th year, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union. So, Theodora, we'll start with you and then go over to Jonathan and to Tasha as well. What can our listeners do to support the symphony in general and especially this performance?
Well, you can absolutely buy tickets for us. All of our performances at Jacobs Music Center, at the Radio Show at Jacobs Park. Buy tickets, come to our shows. I can't tell you how it makes the orchestra feel to see a full house in front of them. It brings them joy. It brings us joy. It makes it feel that the hard work that we all put in to put on these wonderful works is meaningful to the community. And that is our number one thing we'd love to see. But of course, there are other opportunities to join us. You could volunteer as an usher. You could partner with a player and experience an even more intimate relationship with the musicians of the San Diego Symphony. We have many opportunities for people to help financially, whether they may want to contribute to any of our campaigns that help sustain our organization into the future so that we can continue to bring music and the arts to the people of San Diego.
Well, and we talked about this. This will be for you, Jonathan, and Tasha. You add to it. We cannot talk enough about how important the arts are to anything in general, and especially in this crazy world we're in. Collaboration, empathy. Belonging, everything that we really need to do times 4 billion%. But for me, and I know the symphony is passionate about education, of course, getting the school kids in. I worked for San Diego Unified, I think before there was running water. That's how old I am, for God's sake. Not quite that old. But I've always said, you can teach every content area under the sun through the arts, and especially with the symphony. History, social studies, physics, language arts, sound, everything. Talk about how important that is, Jonathan, for people to understand everything can begin and end with the arts.
Well, it's amazing. I mean, there's so many ways to participate, whether you're an audience member or want to get involved with this. If you're going to sing, or if you want to illustrate, or if you want to conduct, or if you want to play an instrument. I actually think I misspoke before. I said there's 100 people involved in this, and we actually include the 2,000 people in the audience, because the live arts mean nothing. Mm-hmm. You are such a critical part of this. What we do is share space. And to your point, in a moment where we really need to be sharing space together, just remember, as an audience member, you are such an integral participator in the art form and the energy you bring. So showing up and being enthusiastic and being curious is really the best.
Well, I mean, once anybody is smitten with a live performance, I can't find too many that don't want to come back. Now, whether it's the symphony or whether it's the opera or whether it's local theater, doesn't make a difference. You see this, and I love to see the eyeballs on and hear the stories of those people, and whether it's a young adult or not, that's the first time they've experienced something. If this is the first thing they're going to experience is Ravel's The Child and the Magic Spells, they're starting off with the Super Bowl, in this aspect of it. Tasha, just talk about how important it is for people to embrace the arts.
Oh, I think the arts are such a fundamental expression of humanity. I mean, they're the way that we first start to explore ourselves. I often find with my students that their parents are shocked when I'm talking to their children or talking to the parents themselves about how they're living, about how to be a good person, about how their bodies work, about bringing self-awareness. And I think, too, with the creation and exploration of art, it gives you an opportunity to get out of the grind of day to day and go somewhere else far more fun, or into a place where you're allowed to fully express yourself in a way you might not be able to in your day to day. So I could not encourage people more to listen to the arts, study the arts, make art. Everybody can be an artist. It doesn't have to be good. It just has to be.
Well, there's a place for everybody in it, whether you're a singer, whether you're a producer, whether you're in administration, whether you're actually playing, the songs or you're designing the sets and everything. There's somebody that can say, I can see myself in this. And I think that's the beauty of the arts. Theodora, when is the Ravel's performance? What days?
It's on Friday, the 3rd of October at 7:30 p.m. and Sunday, the 5th at 2.
And how do they get tickets?
SanDiegoSymphony.org.
Very good. Well, this will not be the last time. We'll work with Kathy Strauss to get you folks on periodically on our Spotlight show if you're so interested. We cannot shout out enough about the great things that are coming out of the symphony, of course, and arts in general. This world would be a lot better place if everybody just focused on that aspect 24/7, 365, 366 for a leap year on it. So thank you so much for coming in and sharing your story. Wishing you nothing but great success for the Bell child and the magic spells. And this will not be the last time we'll see you folks in the studio. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Drew.
Thanks for having us.
You bet. I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media. You've been listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union. 6 decades for doing great things in San Diego County. And to our audience, we hope you enjoyed the interview.
You've been listening to an episode of Drew Schlosberg's Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego community. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.
Cloudcast Media.